All right, so this next one's never been performed. This next one's never been performed before. I added this in just because I kind of liked how it came out, and I was going to share it with you guys. I thought maybe you might like it. This piece is, about the way we talk to ourselves, about the way we, tell ourselves we can't when we inherently know we can, or tell ourselves we failed, even though we're still in the process of trying to win. And I think it's a matter of learning how to tell yourself again, hey, yes, I can. And just giving it your best chance or your best try, no matter what the outcome is. Because trying is winning when you're struggling as hard as some of us are. Trying is winning. So just keep trying. This piece is called Thought Exorcism. How can writing help you find your way out of the dark? How can a simple word on a page create a life-changing spark? I learned to say I can instead of I can't. I learned to have some patience instead of losing myself in a rant. See, I write the things I do not say because the paper doesn't judge me in a human way. I learned to write myself into the example that I needed instead of seeing a coward who has been completely defeated. We speak so poorly of ourselves. It's no wonder we're placed up on top of shelves to be forgotten by history, simply for failing to choose to be stronger than the obstacles ahead, stronger than the desire to be dead. Time to change the perception your illness created and build a foundation that cannot be desecrated. Your mental health can begin to change with a pen and a pad and the removal of all those negative thoughts you had. The power to change everything around you is in you. Finding it starts with exercising what's stopping you. Thank you.
What's up, Hero Stock Nation?
What is up, Hero Stock Nation? We are coming to you again with another episode from the Roundtable where heroes talk. You're going to notice something a little different today. Me and Tom are doing that little, switcheroo. He is allowing me to sit in the host seat to talk to our guest today. And you've met him before. Very briefly, we had an episode that talked about the National Veterans Creative Arts Competition, and he was one of our guests. Today, we're going to be getting a further dive into Tommy and what he does, what inspires him, what really, kind of keeps him motivated. But first, let me give you just a little bit of a bio on Tommy, okay? Thomas Walk is a medically retired Army veteran. He is a 6-time national award-winning poet and spoken word artist. His outstanding vocal work in mental health and advocacy earned him a Telly Award and an Emmy nomination. He currently runs a one-of-a-kind peer support workshop at his local VA. The workshop was launched as a concept first in November of 2024 and then became a permanent bi-weekly workshop January 2025. There are currently plans to extend and expand with the VA alongside of plans to launch both a for-profit and nonprofit extension of mental health through art. Please help me welcome Thomas Walk. Tommy, welcome to the show again, brother.
Hey, bro. It's great to be here, man. It's always crazy to hear that kind of stuff read. Like, it's sometimes I forget, I know you struggle with your memory too, like sometimes I forget and then it's all just thrown at me in a package and I'm like, oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, holy smokes, that sounds really cool, Well, Tommy, let's just jump right into it, bud. It's good to see you. I always enjoy talking to you. What's been going on very recently? Like, kind of fill us in. What's happened from when we spoke about the National Veterans Creative Arts Festival up to now?
Well, a really big thing that's happened. So I was accepted into a program here in Michigan, called the Michigan's Veterans Entrepreneurial Program. And so I'm currently in I want to say it's 14 weeks total. I'm in a program that's teaching me how to build a business plan from the ground up and expand my way of thinking, and teaching me aspects that I wasn't paying attention to. And ultimately it ends up on December 15th. I'll be given a 3-minute pitch followed by 2 minutes of questions by the judging panel to award potential startup money to get mental health through art moving forward a little bit better.
Well, that's awesome. So when does this start?
I'm in it. I've
You're in
been
it right now.
yeah, I've been in it for what I'd say about, I think we just finished up week 6.
Okay.
Next Monday night will be week 7. It's from 6 to 9 p.m. Every Monday night.
That's
And it's
awesome,
been an
brother.
awesome learning experience, man. Like, blew my mind, broadened my horizons. Ultimately I was like, I want to just save the world, right? But I really needed to break that down. And this has really, really helped me do that, helped me focus, just kind of see what I really can do with this, and those things that I can't, how can I overcome that,
Yeah. So
You know,
you'd say that this has kind of helped like, get a little more energy towards what we talked about in your bio. And I know we'll go into kind of each one of those topics when it comes to like the ideas of expanding and moving to like a for-profit and a non-profit.
right,
It helps really push that stuff through, mental health, therapy through the creative arts.
right.
Um, but let's back up real quick. We told them we're going to give you a deep dive into you, so we're going to go a little deeper, and we're going to go back to you in the army. All right,
Oh
tell
boy.
us why did you join the army, and what did you do?
Oh, that's great. All right. So, I joined the army because I had gotten myself into enough trouble to not really have much left. At the time, I was literally sleeping in the back of my car. It was wintertime in Jersey back then, which gets cold. And, like, I just was looking into the future of what was I in the eyes of my son. My son was pretty new then, my first boy. And I was really looking at, how do I portray being somebody that he can look up to? And it ain't this. So I got drunk and I went to the recruiter and I signed up, man. And then it changed my whole life.
Yeah. So what did you do while you were in the army?
So the first half of my career, I was a combat engineer running heavy equipment. So basically digging holes for tanks and dudes all over the place. It's really fun, man, because I really enjoyed the work. Um, I'm a technical thinker, so all the digging and all that stuff, it can actually be more precise than most people think. It's not just digging a hole. So, anyways, and then I hurt my back really bad, had surgery, and I reclassed over to medical maintenance. So I was actually on the medical side of the army the second half of my career.
Man. So how long did you serve?
I was in for 10 years active duty before I
Okay.
finally medically retired. I retired due to injuries revolved around my back. At the time, they were still telling me that there was no way I could have PTSD. So I didn't get everything from the start, but they took care of me a little bit to get me going. And then I followed up and finished up and got what I was supposed to be getting.
So I mean, I guess we could really say that, for, many who may be listening or even, the one or two that kind of hear about this episode and see it a little bit later on, that it is a common thing where soldiers that get out of the military and they keep fighting, for benefits to get those ratings, to really represent themselves completely and hope that someone's listening.
Right.
Um,
Well, and that's the
so
thing, and remember, sometimes it seems like forever, and it can feel that way. For me, in my deployment was 06, 07, and I was struggling mid deployment because we have talked about what I went through. And I was struggling mid-deployment. Now, when I came home, I had a high-ranking Navy officer, can't remember, but anyways, as a psychiatrist, and he told me straight up, you cannot have PTSD because you were not blown up and nobody shot you. So you need to go on and get out of my office and hoo. And
Hmm.
so, that really devolved into me really thinking like, okay, so if there's nothing wrong, then what's wrong? Like I really lost control of my ability to process what was going on. I left the service in 2010, and I struggled until 2000, I want to say 18, 19, even almost 20, I think, 2020 before I got my 100%.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, I know there's been a few veterans that I have talked to that they say when they got out, they didn't feel like they had deserved benefits from the VA, and I think that the kind of interaction that you're talking about really kind of helps shape the stigma that, well, if you didn't come back blown up, missing a limb, or have a bullet hole somewhere,
right.
then you're fine. You're still fully mission capable, and just go be the weapon that we want you to be.
And see, it's
And
a hard thing to process because you're not wrong. So I leave thinking, okay, so if nothing's wrong, then what's the deal? And clearly, if I don't have PTSD, there's definitely guys worse off than me. So what right do I have to even? I mean, it was years before I started that process because of my own stubbornness. Well, Matt might need it more than me. Matt might need it. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. And
yeah.
that was just you do that to yourself so much, you're convinced that that's the reality of your situation, and it's not.
Now, on the other side of that coin, would you say that you feel like, persevering over the challenges that you've faced over these last few years, um, that in a way is helping you reshape, helping you kind of cancel out that stigma where you're able to talk to veterans or you're able to talk to people and say, no, no, you are right. You do deserve these things. It's there for you, and kind of help just break that stigma for them.
Yeah. I mean, I always let them know that they're worth everything that they don't think they're entitled to. But my work is very much more focused on the message that at a certain point you got to do a little bit of inside work. You've really got to like take a look at what's going on. You've really got to open up and communicate. My message is a little bit of a different angle. But yes, I
Yeah.
always tell those guys if they ask me, I do my best to guide them in the right direction. Like, bro, you're so much more, you're worth so much more than you realize. And
Yeah.
and we devalue ourselves so commonly.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Um,
I know you probably fit in that same boat where, I mean, I strongly believe that nobody can say anything about me that I haven't already said about myself.
I'm
Like if you want to look at the number one catalyst, all the negative things that I've ever heard, a lot of that stuff comes from myself.
yeah,
So yeah, that inside work, that willingness, that drive to, if there's gonna be change, I have to be the catalyst that brings in that change that
right,
allows, like you've said before, your possibilities are infinite, right?
absolutely.
So you become that change.
And that motto that you love so much, man, that
I
came
do love
from
it. I do love it.
and it comes from such a real place. You and I have talked in depth. I really was trying to commit suicide. I was driving drunk. I was drinking until I couldn't walk and then driving drunk with the expectation to not make it home. I
Hmm.
wanted my I wanted my problem to seem like an accident so I didn't hurt as many people as badly, right? So
Yeah.
all that, and that's a hard thing to get through, but our possibilities are infinite comes from look at where I'm at now, Matt.
Yeah.
And the reality is had I succeeded, I would not be here. I tried,
Yeah.
you know, and now I've got my daughter who's awesome, the
She's
olive that's
adorable too, man.
running around here
Adorable.
terrorizing my house, dog. Ain't nobody around here slept right in months, but look, that comes with a smile on my face, that even that in and of itself, man, there was a time I couldn't find that, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and it's hard to say, but the truth is, no matter how dark it is, people that are listening, man, no matter how dark it is, no matter how hard it is, you are so much stronger than you really realize that you are. You got to hold on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. I'm 100%, man, that, you know, if there's still a fight, well, then stay in the fight,
Hell
you
yeah.
know.
Yep.
Um, let's do this real quick. I want to talk. So we're talking about your military service and you know, your experiences. Uh, what is one? Well, I won't limit it to one. What are some of your fondest memories of serving in the military?
Man, I'll tell you, you know, I I have a hard time with that one because of my memory issues. You know, it's funny because it comes in flashes sometimes, right? Like I'll see a big ass piece of equipment go by and I'll remember that time that we like sank a bulldozer in the mud. Right? Or you know, when we were in basic, we watched a guy straight up bury a truck in the mud because he kept just trying to save it and just kept making it worse, you know. And the thing is, I can't remember the names, but I remember the faces, and
Yeah.
I remember the camaraderie, and I remember the laughter. You know, I think probably at the time of my life, my highlight of my career was when I got stationed at Shepherd Air Force Base. Because what Army guy don't want to
Oh,
be?
down there in Texas, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really dope time in my career. You know, like so much different, so much different. I really just felt like, you know, everything on the Air Force Base was so much better than ours. Man,
Yeah.
I felt like I was in the rich neighborhood when I was there.
Yeah. Like you suddenly just stumbled into a gated community. You're like, what in the world?
Yeah, and they didn't know I was there, and I was just reaping the rewards. You know, it's
Yeah.
great, dude.
Man, that's too funny. Now imagine, you know, those guys who buried those pieces of equipment. What did the interaction look like when you had to tell like your first sergeant, you know, like, hey, we're gonna have, you know, we're gonna need some time to recover that thing.
Dude, I'll tell you, you know, like those things were always funny because there was obviously an air of irritation, but we were in training, dude. They
Yeah.
knew damn right well some idiot was going to bury a truck in that field. They put him out there to bury that truck because here's what happened. You know how that works, Matt. They turned right around and all the recovery was right around the corner. Like they knew what they were doing, dude.
They
So then
brought it. Yeah.
they did a whole demo on recovery operations, right? And it's like, man, you set that little dude up for failure.
It makes me wonder if, you know, like your first sergeants and your sergeant first class, your platoon sergeants and whatnot, if they kind of tap each other on the shoulder, like just watch them real quick, just watch them, you know?
Well, fun fact, I was lucky enough for a while. I did get to turn around and I was one of the instructors in the course I went through. Yes. Yes, we do.
Nice. Yes, we do. We're taking bets. Okay, yeah, I bet it's that one.
Absolutely, bro. And you know, it's crazy some of those instructors how dead on they are. They read those soldiers so well. They're like, "Nope, that's the one that's going to do this. That's the one that's going to do that." And watch, go ask that guy to get some grid squares. Guarantees he goes.
Yeah.
Bet,
Go.
you know?
There's the one that's gonna ask for blinker fluid, you know? Crazy, crazy, man. I remember so many. I mean, I remember, you know, basic training because I mean, I have a brain injury, so there's some things that I just don't remember.
Right?
But there's those key things that happen in basic training where you're like, I'm never gonna forget that. Uh, you know, and of course
Dude, like
we,
0 day. I will never remember. Look, 0 day, I'm going to never forget this chain of events. When I first got to the thing, before 0 day happened, you know, they're checking you in, they're giving you 1,000 shots, jacking you up, right? There was this, I didn't know he was a drill instructor at the time. I really was unprepared. He was dirty eyeing me, man, and I was giving him the stink eye the whole time. Like I was really like starting like a
yeah,
communication
like yeah,
process.
challenge accepted. Yeah,
Can
let's
you,
go.
as it turns out, I find out he didn't even belong to the unit I got assigned to, but on 0 day, he was there.
Oh
Oh my
man.
God, he smoked. I did more push ups than Paulie Shore that day, dude. Like, you ever seen In the Army Now?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, I did so many push ups in basic, dude. I did so many push ups.
So have Because we're talking about basic, do you have any memories of like being smoked that you want to share? For those who don't know what being smoked is,
Dude.
it's a trial period. Let's just say that.
I'll tell you. So I was at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so when were you there? Summer or winter?
I was there in the summer, and I came back to Fort Leonard Wood for BFT, where they call battle focus training in the
Yep.
wintertime.
Yep.
So it was two extremes. It was like standing on the surface of the sun
Yes, it was. Being in the Arctic.
and then buried in the Arctic ice.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
insane.
And so it was crazy because Missouri was one of those places where like it just rained during blue skies. Do you remember that too?
Oh yeah.
Like no clouds that anybody can find, but there's just rain. So I remember in the rain one time in the summer, so that humidity just keeps building. And we were out there running up and down this hill, top to bottom. So you had to run, and it was an incline, bro. I mean, it
Was
wasn't like,
agony, agony
yeah,
and misery.
yeah, bro. Like
Yeah.
we were kind of like mountain climbing to get up
Yeah.
the hill. And
One
I
inch at a
remember,
time.
yeah, and we were, everybody at first, they always set you up. They're like, everybody, whoever's the first. So you're like competing with each other that first couple times. And then you
Yeah.
realize in reality, this isn't a competition. You're
Yeah.
all in hell together and it's
Yeah.
about to get worse.
Nobody wins.
And everybody stops competing. And now you're just trying to drag bodies up the hill, dude.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. And I think no matter what I ever can or cannot remember, I will always remember like the camaraderie, the vibration. Like even
Absolutely.
when I was mad at the dude next to me, we figured that out because what choice did you have?
You were the only people you had.
And so at the end of the day, it's not like they were going to go, oh, he hurt my feelings. You're welcome. You can have this new assignment. That
No,
didn't
no.
happen, dude.
Yeah.
Like, so, that I will never forget. And I think that's part of what made it so hard leaving the military. I was really damaged. I was ready to go because I was hoping maybe that would be the fix, right? But once I was gone, it was like there I was all by myself. Like,
No.
where is everybody? Where's the schedule? Where's dinner? Like, what
Yeah.
the F?
Yeah. So what would you say were some of the biggest challenges when you got out of the military? And just kind of an example, I mean, a sense of identity,
Well,
things like that.
for me, like I always grew up, I liked Dungeons and Dragons. I liked fantasy stuff. I always have had a hero complex. I like to help people,
Yeah.
And so like, see, and here we go, because I just forgot what we were talking about. See, now you get a demonstration. So remind me what we were talking about.
Okay, so talking about the challenges that you experienced when you got
Yes,
out of the
that's
military,
what it was.
the things that were and now no longer are,
So I felt so much pride in my uniform, filling that hero complex. See, that's where we were. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt so much pride in that uniform because that's how I felt. I mean, like, look at it. We're how many? Like 1% of the population at a certain point. We've been up to what, 3 or 4? I don't know, but it's a small percentage of the population stands in our shoes. At that time in my life, that was such a point of pride. Like I was proud of that uniform. And when I left the service, I wasn't proud of anything. I didn't have anything. That had been my whole life for 10 years. Man.
Yeah.
Like when you're in the military, you're pretty much tied down. And so like, I didn't have an identity. I had nothing. The uniform, I wasn't, that wasn't a daily thing. You can't just go walk around in your uniform after you retire. It doesn't work that way. Right? I'm sure people do. But look, I went from being a soldier full time to not knowing what I was going to do. I didn't properly prepare school wise. I didn't set myself up for anything but failure.
Yeah.
And having an illness coupled with all the stress of that transition, I just lost my footing, man. I really lost my footing. I
Yeah.
tried really hard to focus on family and home for a long time, but I just couldn't get rid of what was growing.
Yeah. I know in the previous episode that you were on when we talked about the Veterans Creative Arts Competition, there was something that you had mentioned, and I kind of wanted to talk a little more about that. It's, I mean, having these thoughts that we have, that intrusive thought or, that voice in our head that takes up real estate that shouldn't.
Right.
um, and then hearing from somebody, and then they may have the best of intentions at heart, but hearing someone, say something simple like, just suck it up, man, and how offensive that is,
Absolutely.
right? Can you
But so,
elaborate a
Matt,
little bit on
I'm
that?
here. Let's do that. Let's debate. Is it though, Matt?
Is it offensive?
Is it offensive? Let's be real, because here's the deal. We both know what we've been through. The hardest thing to accept is that most of this struggle is an inside job.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so I would argue that suck it up is a pretty straight on, you know, summary.
Yeah,
Now, I feel like what's offensive about that is when we are in crisis thinking, we don't understand any of that.
yeah,
What I just said.
the intentions of the person who is delivering the message,
Yep.
and what they want to do for you or what they want to help you with, you lack the ability to comprehend it in a way that makes it conducive to your
Right.
health, you
Right.
know.
Because
So I
sometimes
mean,
in those moments you can't see an hour from now. What am I supposed to suck up? There's
yeah,
nothing left. Right.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's like, it's you want to keep pouring into things that you believe, and still saving something for yourself,
Right.
you
I
know.
believe if we learn how to adjust our focus, like I just said, I understand that sometimes that does offend me. It really does. But also, there's a part of me now that combats from the other side too. Okay, fine. I want to argue. I want to fight. I want to be.
Yeah,
Hold up. Time out. Because we both know that there's nothing to be angry about here. Just walk. If you can't get it together, walk away.
yeah,
Right. So it's a
I've,
matter of just once you understand, okay, he didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. It almost makes you start going, yeah, but why? Why didn't he mean it? Wait a minute. Maybe I do kind of need it. It almost, when you don't attack, it almost makes you contemplate, I guess. Is it
yeah.
maybe it's just me. I don't know.
No, I think that makes. I mean, I think it makes sense. I mean, I know that. I mean, we're all human. We all, we get connected to our feelings, and with those feelings, there are things that really kind of stick together. Like happiness, joy,
Right?
peace. Those things are bonded together. But anger, frustration, lashing out, those things are bonded together too.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's trying to manage. And I know we talked about the managed mind versus the man in the cage,
Right?
um, but trying to manage those in a way that keeps you with your hands on the wheel,
Right. Yep.
So it's an interesting, kind of balance. Um, would you say that particular balance is something that you've gotten better at?
Yeah, yeah. I think honestly, like if like 7 years ago me met me now, he'd probably punch me in my mouth.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think there's probably a lot of people out there like that.
yeah. Because like I gotta be honest, I'd have to really tell him get it together. Like, and
Yeah,
that would be so real. And I feel, and here's the thing, he'd know,
yeah.
but he wouldn't want to hear it.
Exactly. The new you talking to the old you may say something along the lines of "suck it up,"
Get up, bro. Come
and
on.
you're like, "Oh,
And
not right
that's
now,"
how and that's how the fight started, right?
Yep.
So
So it's a crazy war that we battle with in our head, and but I mean that's just like you had mentioned. It's one of those things that it's an inside job,
yeah,
Like if we want that change, we got to be willing to get our hands dirty and fix ourselves.
right. And
So,
really, who wants to take accountability? Since
oh
you
yeah,
were a kid, you knew it was wrong to get that cookie out that cookie jar, but you tried, and every
oh
time
yeah,
you got caught, you tried to get away with it.
Well,
It's just something in us that doesn't want to, I guess, doesn't want to get berated. But the
mhm.
reality is, it doesn't have to be like that with the right people,
Yeah. It's
right?
kind of like I want my pity party, you know.
Right,
You want to be able to go, well, what about me?
right,
Um, and then the big picture is you take that time that you have and where it's kind of like a quiet contemplation where you're really kind of thinking in more completeness, if that makes sense, instead of, viewing something from only one perspective. It's looking at the other side of the coin,
right. Well,
and
I'm a big Marvel fan, right? So, there's in the original Avengers movie, right? Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk.
yeah.
He says, what's he saying? The
Oh
secret
yeah.
is always angry, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at a certain point, that's kind of almost the reality of it. You become exactly what you're fighting in order to fight it better, and then you change,
Absolutely.
you know? Um, because I turned that rage on myself a lot for a long time, right? I don't do that anymore. But it was all a process because for a while it was either you or me. All right,
Yeah.
well, if I got to change, I guess I'll take the hit. Well, then I got tired of taking the hit. And then I learned, well, wait a minute, time to make some real adjustments, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I try to get these veterans that I work with to write, because you don't have to share that with anybody.
Yeah.
I encourage everybody to share because that's where communication starts. Those things you're afraid of that you're writing down, if you share those with me, bro, now I'm in there with you. Now I actually can, to a degree, help you fight this fight. But with zero information, zero
Yeah.
communication, I can't even help you with anything.
Yeah.
You
I mean, and it's one of those things where don't leave me in a position to speculate because I can't help speculation,
mm-hmm.
you know? So would you say that your writing, I mean, you would probably agree that, kind of getting into writing, it was for you when you first started. It was, you putting your thoughts and your feelings down on paper, right? What was it like? What was it like kind of looking at that from that particular standpoint of this is the change that I'm going to implement in my life? And at what point did that become change that you wanted to help others with?
Wow. Wow, that's a deep question. At first, I just understood that I was releasing something. My work was really dark and really hard. Um, but then there came a point where I genuinely started to focus my writing purposely. So I got angry, I wrote, right? Not like
Okay.
days later I was sitting here writing, filling the time, but I started to purposely focus my writing. Well, what I started to see was while I was angry, I really wanted to put my hands on Matt. I wanted to do things out of character. When I wasn't angry anymore, I was able to look at that and go, bro, like you really need to take a step back because you shouldn't feel this way towards anybody,
Yeah.
right? And so it gave me a position to, for the first time, fundamentally see what everybody else saw wrong. I knew I was self destructing, but I really didn't understand, I guess, the how far I had gone.
Yeah. Do you think that, I mean, perhaps, I mean, I'm kind of thinking of, just trying to visualize. It's almost like shining a flashlight in a really dark room, looking for a pinpoint, specific item
Yep.
that you can go, that's what I want to work on.
Yeah.
Um, Now, did your earliest work, was there a whole lot of search for resolution in that, or was it just kind of get it out?
Man, nah, it was like vomit. It was like pain vomit, man. It was bad. I mean, I had a piece when I during all this, I had lost my wife and I lost a son, and I wrote a piece that just was blasphemous, man. I mean, I was on stage calling God down. So in a bad way. I
Yeah.
was so hurt by that. But that's the kind of shit that was coming out in the beginning. Um, and I really didn't, I had no real control over it. But see, when the feedback started to be a mixed bag of, wow, I'm just amazed that you would do something that raw on stage, and thank you. Versus, yo, that really is putting us in a place where we don't want to be, and you need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
That really made me evaluate, well, all right, and like I said again, focus my work. All right, well, how do I make this something somebody does want to hear? Ultimately, where I started seeing it as something I wanted to do to help other people, Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah, Denver.
What
After
what
my,
was it?
my wife and the rec therapist team here pretty much bullied me into entering because I didn't believe in my work,
Yeah,
and
but they saw you in a way that they wish you could see you.
100%. And
So,
look what came of it. And
yeah.
after that, we've talked about this. My wife and I talk about this all the time. Sometimes I don't want to lie to you. But if I knew that that little tiny lie would make your life that much better right in this moment, I might tell you, yeah, man, you just got off a motorcycle. You look like Santa in a windstorm. No, it's beautiful, bro. It's
Beautiful.
beautiful, right? Now, that kind of thing, you kind of almost expect from a loved one sometimes. So
Yeah.
when that kind of validation comes from somebody that has no idea who you are, and in the scheme of things will probably never ever again know who you are, but in passing there was a connection.
Yeah.
Man, there's just something different in that says, okay, look, nobody's just trying to hold me up today. Nobody's doing the crutch. Nobody's being my crutch today. They meant it. And
Yeah.
after a certain amount of time, like, I started to believe that, and that just helped me fundamentally really find what I wanted to do with what I was doing. Because it was still kind of all over the place for a long time.
Yeah.
Mm,
I remember Denver, man. I remember seeing you up on stage, just running through it, when we did our rehearsals, and you could visibly see the nervousness and the shaking and the quiver in the lip and the shortness of breath. You could see those physical things happening. And I remember, being in the on the night when, hey, it's the final, like, rehearsals are done. We're gonna
yep.
go out there and we're gonna do what we came here to do. And I remember you in the dressing room and you're just breathing, trying to figure it out. And I was just like, all I could think in that moment, man, is like, everyone here is here for you. No
Right.
one wants anything bad for you.
Right.
And dude, I'm telling you, it was so loud after you finished, we could hear the crowd in the dressing room. And I was so happy. And when you
That
came back, man, oh,
did it, man. And that's what did it. And that's a good point. Everybody was literally, I mean, people bought tickets to the show to be there for us. Everybody really was there for us. You're not wrong. But
yeah,
that is a good example of this illness. I
yeah,
didn't hear any of that. I didn't know any of that. In
yeah,
that moment, I was climbing Mount Everest and I
yeah,
was out of oxygen in my tanks and I was in muscle fatigue and I was going down, dude. But that's what I'm saying. For me, every time I hit that moment, but also move forward, I win and I prove myself more well. Does that make sense? Because I
yeah,
literally proved to myself in that moment, I've won. I can turn around and go, ha 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 ha, right? I did it,
yeah,
beat you. And in that, there's something powerful, and even if
absolutely.
it doesn't even matter what you do, just do something, achieve anything, because those small victories, they lead to bigger ones, dude.
Absolutely. I used to work at the Combatives Academy in Fort Richardson, Alaska, and one of the things we always tried to tell soldiers, we're talking about grappling over dominant body positions, that you're gonna have an opponent that outweighs you. You're gonna have an opponent that is stronger than you, more
Yep.
skilled than you. Staying still is not an option.
Right.
You need to move.
Yep.
If you move and it's not a very good position, move again.
Yep.
You know, move until there are no more moves.
Absolutely. You
Like
know,
staying still in that
because
train of thought is not an option.
absolutely. And that's the thing, because this mental fight, it's the same thing. If I stop moving, oh, the thoughts start climbing in and crowding in, and it's hard, but
Yeah.
here's the thing, like, the fun thing about mental warfare is you got more tools. Even if you can't get up out of bed, you can use your paper and your pen.
Yeah.
You can release something. That piece that you like that I did called He Can, about all the things I could do that day I was stuck in bed.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I couldn't get up that day, was talking myself right there, stuck in bed under the covers, and I just picked up my pad and pen and started writing. And
Yeah.
there we were.
So we've mentioned in the previous episode, and we've kind of briefly touched on it in this one. You are a nationally recognized poet, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
now, how many books do you have out now?
Currently in print, I have 7 collections of poetry,
Okay.
and I have 3 fiction works published.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, did you bring something to share with us today?
Um, Now this other one that I added in here is a really powerful. It's a really powerful piece to me, because it really just kind of dips in and mentions all the different stuff that's really kind of going on. It's an amalgam of different situations. It's never the same thing. Tomorrow could be angry and sad and happy. And the day after that could be happy. And the day after that could just be, completely done and ready to give up. And it's like rolling the dice every morning for a random outcome. And it's hard. And I wanted to try to paint a picture of that. This piece was in our exhibit in September, and it got a lot of attention. And I actually used my AI music program to create a song from this that you can find on SoundCloud that personally I just absolutely love, because every time I hear it, it's a genuine snapshot to me of the whole picture of my mental illness, and I'm really proud of it. So this piece is called Dissection of a Broken Mind. Welcome everyone to a dissection of my head. Let's talk about what goes on inside that often goes unsaid. The regrets, the what ifs, and even the voices that want me dead. We're doing this because my phone rings when you need help, because you can see how strong I am. But what you don't realize in the time between is just how weak I really am, and how the smile you so often see me wear is actually a sham. It's like a war zone in here. Nothing is ever verifiably clear. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. I have no idea sometimes what's going on. I have no idea sometimes where I belong. And even when I feel I fit in, it feels like a trick. Like any moment, someone I love will just split because I was too much to handle. Inside my head lies fear and dread, suicidal thoughts that push me to the edge. I can't forgive myself of all the things I've seen. I wish I could take back some of the places I've been, and I want to change my own opinion of me. But I only seem to see the monster I believe won't let me be myself. How do I stop pacing in circles waiting on a miracle? How do I stop cursing at God for letting me keep myself less spiritual? I want someone to blame, so this mistake isn't signed in my name. And in the middle of all of these metaphysical and metaphorical questions, I gotta be a father and teach my kids some lessons. So I'm burning the candle wick from both ends while I'm desperately trying to make amends for mistake I made without control or concern, for bridges that I so casually burned. Meanwhile, I'm stumbling, bumbling, making brand new mistakes, straight up terrified because I'm playing for much higher stakes. I feel like I'm fumbling the ball play after play, but it don't feel like practice. It always feels like game day. So my anxiety is always running at peak, and it comes out wonky when I try to speak. Now I'm recognizing patterns in myself of past behavior while I'm perpetuating the idea that I'm my own savior. And I'm constantly doubting that I know what I'm talking about. So much so that sometimes I can't even sprout so much as one seedling from an idea. Now, all of this is going on all the time. I'm constantly running empty on overtime, fundamentally impacting my ability to write a rhyme. So I smoke 2 joints before I smoke 2 joints, like I learned from Sublime, just to slow things down for a clear thought, a rest from the chaos so earnestly sought. But understand, I don't really get high. See, that just kicks things into overdrive. No, I smoke until I find the wellness I seek. That unwavering peace I need when I'm weak, that I cannot find rolling the dice with big pharma, because taking the risk that what they won't do won't further harm you is too much more to ask of me. So I'm in constant combat, under attack from an unknown threat, some residual leftover traumatic impact. And it could be this or it might be that. So there's no real lasting peace for me to find, because the trauma left a fingerprint I can't erase off my mind. But I'm out here showing you this chaos so that maybe you are not left at a loss, so that maybe you understand a bit more should this war ever come to your door. Thank you.
That let me go ahead and just ask you this question, kind of jumping back into the, your writing being something that you initially were just trying to, it's like you said, it's like vomit, just getting it out. And then there were things that were, just dark and angry and just kind of like a disheveled chaos, but at least it was out. Do you find yourself going back to those pieces of work now and trying to create resolution in them?
That's pretty cool. So you just made me actually remember something. I had a buddy of mine back in the day that asked me if I was one of those guys that writes sequels
Yeah.
to his work, and I see that as the same thing, like a throwback to kind of respond to, and I've been thinking about it.
The copy.
I got a couple of poems that are entitled, like "What Am I?" or "Who Am I?" And there is part of me that wants to go back and say, "Hey, bro, this is who you are," right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, I want to pay respect to who that person was when he wrote that too. Like, I don't feel like that poem needs resolution. He didn't need resolution. He needed to release, right?
Kind of like viewing it like almost like a growth chart.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
perseverance looks a little differently now, but perseverance back then was
Right.
shrouded in, some pretty dark, hard moments,
Absolutely. And
Okay.
like, to go back and answer that call back, it'd be the same thing. Would he listen to me?
Yeah.
And in the case that he won't, what is the point of wasting my time? Because what I do is I let those words out into the universe in different style, like things like "meant to be," right,
Mm-hmm.
or stupid poetry. Right?
Yeah. Stupid
So
poetry.
so I think that if there's a version of him that's able to hear that, he gets it.
Yeah. Hmm. It's interesting, man. I'd love hearing you talk about your work, because I know both you and I have talked numerous times, on the phone where, whether it's like, hey, I got a challenge for you, or you share something with me and I give you a perspective and you're like, see, I knew you were probably
Right.
going to get it like that. And it's so good to have, kind of, instead of being in that battle by yourself in your mind, you got a battle buddy, like,
Absolutely. Right.
and both you and I are the caliber of person that we don't want to see people experience, trauma or hard times. So we want to do everything we can to help them.
Absolutely, man.
Um, Now this is a question kind of off the wall. I know we was talking about uniforms and whatnot. Do you ever put your uniform on and just kind of strut around the house?
Nah.
No,
Nah.
I'm the only one then.
Maybe, Matt, you might be a peacock, bro. Maybe.
I tell you what, I lie to myself every time I do it. I put it on, I stand in front of the mirror, and I'm like, I still got it. No, you don't.
No, I'll tell you, first of all, number one, I don't put that uniform on because, again, I can't remember very well. I don't actually know if everything is in order or squared away. And the one thing I pride myself is in my whole military career, I only got gigged in like 2 or 3 inspections in my whole career.
Yeah.
My uniform was squared away, man, until I really started to decline. like my appearance and stuff and my professionalism, I tried to keep up with that, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Um,
that was the standard, to
right,
maintain that fit, professional, you know, just rough as nails appearance. And I mean, I tell you now, like I put it on, but I certainly am not going to go get hemmed up by somebody who knows better.
right.
That's the last thing I want.
Now I got a pair of BDU pants that I wear. Yeah, sometimes like with a hoodie and stuff like that, but not as an actual uniform.
I will admit I did wear it out in public once. It was to a costume party and my nephews were around and so I wanted to dress up like soldier
That's
again and I
awesome.
I have my my camos on and I went over. They're just like, "Oh, you look so cool." But I'm gonna tell you what, I was also 30 pounds heavier.
I
Yeah, there was some issues with the trim appearance, you know what I mean?
bet. I bet. But hey, that just means you're happy, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, brother.
So what do you think? Do we have a piece of literature you want to share with us
Well,
from
so um so yeah, I don't actually have any real copies around. This is the author copy, so it's got like a do not sell band on it. Um did you have anything in mind?
No, no, I want you to read what kind of speaks to you.
Well, so you keep going back to the way the past was, and there's a lot of profanity in some of this old stuff, buddy. Are you ready for that?
Well, I think we got Tom in the background. He can clip it out.
Fair enough. All right, so now if he gets on and watches, I got a buddy of mine, Mr. Blank, really, really liked this poem when he first read it back in the day. I'm gonna go ahead and read this to you, but
Okay.
be
Give us the
prepared.
title. Give us the title and maybe kind of speak on where you were when it was created.
All right. So in my head, I was really just screaming at everybody that kept telling me that they understood. You
Okay.
ever, you ever in when you're not doing so well, you ever have a civilian tell you that they get it? Hey man, I get it. I totally understand.
Hmm.
You might understand PTSD, but you don't understand. You don't understand what I'm saying and what I'm trying to convey about what I've been through, right? And it made me angry, really angry, because like, what right do you have to try to compare yourself? That's how I felt. Compare yourself to me. I'm going through this, and you're sitting over there, and are you serious? That kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this piece is called "So You Think You Understand." So you say you understand, but I don't think you do. And I'll tell you something else, my friend, that makes me angry too. Maybe you can understand some of the things I say, but certainly you don't get everything that made me this way. Have you ever seen a child crying for the dead, and the child that he's crying for is missing half their head? Now, they'll say I went too far and said something that is wrong, but I get to watch it in my head my entire lifetime long. Those children are replaced by mine when I drift away for snores. I always watch them dying. Those Z's for me, they're chores. Have people ever shot at you, but not just with a toy? Then you go and turn around and the gunman's just a boy. I was almost blown up once, survived by a literal inch. If I'd stumbled my way around that night, I wouldn't have needed a pinch. See, I would have been dead, just pretending to be asleep. And some days I still long for that so my dark thoughts can't creep. Once I worked nearby a ward where they saved people like you, but there were dead bodies everywhere. Men, women, and children too. Then you get really angry because of all you've seen, and it eats into your soul for breakfast and lunch and dinner if it's keen. You isolate for safety for the people you're around, but then when they are needed, they're nowhere to be found. People saying they're family, great, because that's what I need. But in reality, they're looking for my misery so they can feed. Some that stay are tougher, seemingly built for anything, but once they see the horror, it's fear they always bring. They're scared that I might lose control or just start an argument, as if my anger differs from theirs and I'm just malcontent. What if this was all just an act, but now I can't get me back? I feel like an addict between a fix, always in pain, like I'm under attack. Oh, look, there he goes again. Hey, wait, I'm just a little upset. I did the only possible right thing, yet pointed at is all I get. I'm just a regular guy with feelings like all the rest. I'm just a bit more broken, but I still aim to be the best. It's all a game inside my head, one that I have to play for keeps. I just hold it all inside myself and I break while everybody sleeps. See, I can only give so much before I need one back. People seem to think it's me when it's them that truly lack. I give and ask only for love, but still the reality is such that my most challenging days have made me hate you so damn much. Every day I would ask them all, am I doing well? And they'd look at me and they'd smile at me, and lies were all they would tell. You said that you would help fight off all this hate, but in the end you helped yourself and you just helped seal my fate. You said I could miss a beat, and now I'm standing here all alone, just wallowing in defeat. But wait, I remind myself, as I have done before, I knew deep down you didn't, and now I know it more. Let me buckle up my belt and tie these shoes real tight. Let me get out of my head and make this all right. Let me stand the fuck back up and glance this off my chin. I got a lot of things to do, and I'll be damned if I won't win. Now, I do have my ups and downs, and sometimes I still sin, but I have got a lot of good to settle somebody in. If you listen, maybe you get it a little bit better than you did. But just remember this, my friend, we all keep some things hid. For the whole story is never discussed. No, far from it, in fact. And no warrior is ever at peace after we come back. Thanks.
Man. No, I mean, you just answered my next question, brother. I mean, I got to tell you, woo.
Yeah.
My next question was going to be, does any of your work ever take you back and have you experience those feelings? I could see it, brother. I appreciate you for sharing that. All right, folks, that wraps up our episode for tonight. Coming up in December, we got some more coming right back at you from the Roundtable. And we have December 3rd, Jack Blaze, who's a United States Army and Marine Corps vet, who's going to come on and share with us his music and his story. And then on the 10th, we have U.S. Army veteran Tim Megan Jr. going to join us and do exactly what we do here. We talk, we share, and we connect. So looking forward to having both them on the show. We will see you at the next episode of the Roundtable where Heroes Talk. I am Matt Jones. Good night.
What's up, Hero Stock Nation?